Well, good morning, my friends. You have reached the NeedleBugg. My name is Karen, and today we are here for another installment in our Hardanger Stitch A Long. Wow, soon done with this thing. It really hasn't been that long. We only started at the first of the year, so it hasn't been that long. And I don't know about you folks, but I only have 2 blocks left. But before we go there, I want to welcome any new Stitch Along people. I'm glad you are joining us, and there is no rush. This is no race. You work at your own pace. So welcome. I hope you enjoy the Stitch Along, and if you have questions, don't hesitate. And for those of you that have been with me on this since the beginning, I'm so glad you're back. And as I said, it's not a race. Work at your own pace. But do send me some pictures. I have only gotten, let me think, 1 picture since I did the last little segment where I showed the pieces people are working on. There has been 1 finish that I know of, so Joy, congratulations on finishing, and she has it framed and it looks absolutely fantastic. So yes, as soon as I have a couple more pictures, I will do another another little movie of the pieces that people are working on. So that being said, so today I am still working on block number 3, 6, 9, 12, 13. And I'm soon finished with block number 13. I just have these little corners to do. But for those of you who are new, let's start at the beginning. This is the Mary Hickmont Hardanger sampler. It can be found on Etsy, and I will put a link to the sampler in the drop-down box for anyone that is new and wants to join the Stitch Along. It's not an expensive sampler, believe me. It was only a few dollars just to get the pattern. And I know people have asked me to send them the pattern. This is not my design, so I cannot do that. But I can tell you where to get it. And you go to Etsy and just type in Mary Hickmont and it will come right up. Okay? So here's let me just back out a little bit so that you can see a little better. And let's move me out. There we go. We'll just move me out of the way. Okay. This was row number 1. This is where we started. And when you look at the sampler, you'll notice that my diagonal on this block goes the opposite of what the sampler calls for. Number 2 and 3. Then we move down to row 2. Now, I have the spaces cut. I do not have the filling stitches in yet. So I will do those probably at the end. And then the next row is row 3. This one was a bit of a challenge. This lady liked eyelets, let me tell you that. And row number 4, again, she really likes eyelets. This one I just finished last night, and I started this one. This block is really super easy because it's really just cluster blocks, eyelets, and your double cable stitch. So it really is not difficult at all. And I know people say, oh, Karen, you keep saying it's not difficult. It's not difficult. Yes, I keep saying that because It's not difficult. It's satin stitches. Satin stitches. It's eyelets. You know how to do eyelets. The double cable stitch, okay, I'll give you that one. But I have a video earlier in this series that shows you exactly how to do that. It's not a difficult stitch. What Hardanger is just a lot of simple stitches put together to make a beautiful design. So today, oh, there's my needle. I was ending a thread. Today, I'm going to end this thread and I'm going to continue to work on my block. However, before I do that, I had a conversation yesterday with a very, very wonderful lady who was having trouble with cutting. And she was working on a piece, and what happened was she was cutting just fine, except she ended up nipping some of her pearl cotton, and then her piece started coming apart. And I felt really, really bad for her. So I did a video call with her yesterday. Hello, Linda. I'm sure you're watching this. I know you are watching this. But I wanted to review with everybody else what I went over with her. And that is just a few tips on when you're cutting. And I'm going to zoom in, and this is as close as I can get. Okay. So if you go back to the videos, or to the video in this series that shows you how to cut, you will see how to insert the blade of your needle, the blade of your scissors, how to pick up the 4 fabric threads, and how to cut. What I did not tell you in that, and because of my conversation with Linda reminded me that I really should have told you about that, is when you're cutting next to your cluster blocks, which is where you're always going to cut, is you want to, let's look at our scissors. Okay, so I'm right-handed. My scissors are in my right hand. All right. This is my top blade. This side of my top blade is smooth, not the side that cuts. The cutting is done on this inside edge. Okay, so if you run your finger over that, you can feel that edge being sharp. Okay, if you do it on this side, you don't feel that sharpness. Okay, so your biggest thing to remember when you're cutting is your scissors should be to the left of this, the side that is not sharp on your scissors. So if you're right-handed and you're holding like this, this is going to be the side against your cluster block. The sharp side is going to be on the inside. Does that make sense? Okay, let me show you. Okay, so I'm going to get up close and a little personal here. All right, so I'm going to try and show you as best I can. So when we cut, okay, here's my scissors. My top blade, the smoother side that is not sharp, is going against this block. So I'm going to insert my scissors down here in this corner. And I'm going to bring up my scissors up here in the top. Okay, So that's to the left. Let me turn this light down a little bit. There. It's a little bit too bright. You can't quite see. All right. So before you snip, first thing you want to do is count and make sure. Okay, focus. Focus. Here we go. You want to make sure it's 4 threads. So if you can see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4 threads on there. Okay. You want to see the tip of your scissors here. So I can see both tips of my scissors. That's a good thing. You want to make sure that the non-sharp side of your top blade is against the cluster block. You want to pick up those threads, but when you're cutting, you want to just tilt that scissors a smidge, just a smidge, to the left, so that when you come down against those stitches, it's not going to cut them. Okay. So now, naturally, you would, because I said you want to cut to the both sides before you cut the top and the bottom. So your instinct would be to go over here and cut these. But now what happens when you do that? If you just move to this side and cut them, what happens? Your sharp side is coming down against your cluster block. Okay, so what you want to do in order to get the best cut is turn this, turn it around. Okay, so that you can now go in this side and do the same thing. Okay, you want the blade to come up. You want to see that blade. You want to see 2 points. You want to make sure it's just 4 threads and that it's the correct 4 threads. Okay. You see that the top blade, this edge that's the non-cutting edge, is the one that's against the cluster block. And you want to tilt it just a little bit to the left and bring your scissors down and cut. That also gets you very close to the block so that you don't get those little ends sticking out. So now you have 2 sides cut. Now you have to cut the top and the bottom. So again, you want to turn. Where did I go here? Here we are. I'm trying to stay in the camera. You want to turn. So as you see, this is cut. Okay. So now we have to cut here and here. So I'm going to go in, come up, 4 threads. The correct side of the scissors is against the block. I'm going to tilt a little bit to the left, and I'm going to cut. Okay. Now, again, you would be inclined to want to just jump over here and cut, but no. You want to flip it around. Now, I find that the easiest thing to do is use my thumb and hold these threads, or else they're going to flop around on you a little bit because this is the last side. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go and get those 4 threads, and then we're going to cut those. And then that will just open up your block and you end up with these little, okay? Now you're going, oh my goodness, do I have to do that for every block? All that flipping around? for every block? Let me turn my light back up a little bit here. My answer is yes, you have to turn for each side appropriately. But what I would do is, okay, take this side. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. I would cut this side on all 4 blocks. Then I would turn it and cut the opposite side on all 4 blocks. Would turn it again and cut another side on all 4 blocks. And then finally cut the last side. Turn it again and cut the last side on all 4 blocks. Save yourself some turning around time. Okay, but you want to make sure, as I said, look at your scissors. And you see this is the side that's angled. This is the side that's flat. When you are bringing your scissors closed, this angled side is the side you want against your blocks to cut. Okay? A lot of you have not done any cutting yet. We're saving it. Well, initially I was even saving it all to the end, but I've found that I rather cut as I go. Now, I have not done the filling stitches, and I will go back and do those. And as I do one that's different, I will show you how to do each one of them. So, yeah, I showed you already how to put, here we go, how to put the dove's eye in when there is no bars that you're wrapping, but you're putting it in the cluster blocks. That was last week's video. I've already showed you how to do the adjoining wrap, which is this one. And that is what will go in this block. It will be the adjoining wrap. So we can review that again, or you can go back and look at the video that has adjoining wrap in it. And the rest of these are, this one will just be plain wraps with dove's eyes, which you already know how to do. And I forget what the last 2 squares are without looking at the chart. And I only bring one chart at a time with me and concentrate on the one. So that's what I wanted to review with you today, is about the cutting. I know that's the most challenging part. But I will say it's a little nerve-wracking when you first start doing it. That first cut is always the worst. Always. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you become with it. What I would suggest, if you're really nervous about cutting, is take a piece of scrap fabric, stitch some blocks on it, just stitch a straight line of blocks, and practice cutting along the side of the appropriate side of the block. And just practice a little bit. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get. So if you make a straight line, or even make your stair steps and practice cutting here and 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 here. Practice that. Now, the other thing I want you to remember is when you're cutting the stair step fashion, it's always easiest to cut into the corner as opposed to out from the corner. Okay, I'm not ready to cut here yet, but it's, well, okay, yeah, I would cut here. Actually, I lie. To do it correctly, you might have to cut out from the corner on your second one, because if you try to go into the corner, you'll have your scissors on the wrong side. So, but play around with it and practice. Do some cluster blocks on some scrap fabric, and then take your scissors and try cutting, just so that you can get a little bit more comfortable with it. Like I said, the more you do it, the easier it gets. When I've done some of my bigger pieces and I was ready to do the cutting, actually, I would have to take a break from it, because I actually should have had scissors with bigger holes on it, because this part of my scissors would just start wearing on my thumb, and then I would take this off and I'd have this big scissor mark here on my thumb, because it didn't really get sore, but it hurt from all the cutting. And when you're doing some of these bigger pieces, it's a lot of cut work to do to get around that area that you need to cut. So practice, practice, practice. This is a great sampler to learn a lot of, to learn really a lot of the basics that you would use to do table runners or doilies or whatever. I mean, it covers a lot of those basics, and you get a fair amount of practice with each one of them as you complete the sampler. And if you have completed this sampler, you can do virtually any piece of Hardanger. The only thing that you would have to learn how to do is different filling stitches. Keep that in mind, because this shows you and has you stitching repetitiously a lot of the basic stitches that are used. So, how did I talk for almost a half an hour on cutting? You guys listen to me jabber on and on and on. So with that, I hope each and every one of you are coming along on the sampler. If you have to put it away for a while, put it away for a while. Don't stress yourself out about it. It's not worth that. Work on it at your leisure. The videos will not go away. If you need help, you can always contact me, and I will try and help you in whatever way is going to work best for the issue that you're having. As I said, yesterday I did a video call to talk about the cutting so that it doesn't fall apart when you cut. I mean, is that not disastrous and the most heart-stopping feeling to put all the work into something and then you cut and it's like, oh my God, my piece is falling apart. Now what do I do? Sometimes you can fix it. Sometimes it's an easy fix. Sometimes it's a challenging fix. And sometimes it's a fix of, do I want to plague myself with trying to repair this, or do I just want to start over? Do I want to salvage what I can and just start over? And those are decisions you have to make for yourself along the way. I have been there. I have done that. I have started pieces. I have cut wrong. It happens to even the best person. It happens. Sometimes it's a simple matter of taking a fabric thread from the edge of your fabric and weaving it back in. Sometimes, and what I have done is if I cut, okay, you're cutting 4 threads and leaving 4 for your bars, and sometimes I accidentally cut 1 too many. If I can, I won't pull that thread out. I'll just lay it alongside of the other ones and catch it in my wrapping. I have done that. So, there are ways to fix things. And possibly once we get through this series, we can look together at how to fix mistakes. And that would be another good, now that I think about it, that would be another good series to do, is how to fix my mistakes in Hardanger. The other thing I talked about, and if folks are interested, is to possibly do another stitch along. And this time it would be a piece of my own design, not somebody else's pattern. It would be my pattern. As I said, I have dabbled in some designing before, and I would be willing to try and design something for another stitch along. It would not be a big piece. It would be something small, medium at best. But we could, in fact, I already started dabbling a little bit in what that might be. So that could be up next. So if you're interested in that, please leave me a comment to tell me that yes, you are. If I don't have a lot of interest, I'm not going to design something to do as a stitch along, because there's lots of other things out there to do. And if I only have one or two people, is it worth that? Pardon me, I'm going to sneeze. There may be another one coming. I can't tell you for sure. But yeah, if you're interested in that, let me know and we can do another stitch along. And what I may do in that one is make the stitches a little bit more, well, not the basic stitches, but so I'll put some different filling stitches in so that we can start looking at different filling stitches. Okay. So with that, my friends, as I said, I like to keep this video at a not real long one. There are so many videos out there to watch, and I don't want to make it real long and take up all of your time, but keep those tips in mind when it comes to cutting, and keep working on your blocks. I hope to finish this block possibly this evening and start the next one, which will be find the right pattern. I believe it will be this one, which again is all stitches we have already done. It's not difficult to do. And you have another adjoining wrap in there. That block will not take long either. And then I have one more after that, and then mine will be done. And if you remember from the last video, I decided what I'm going to do with mine. And it's up to you folks to decide what you want to do with yours. You can have it framed. You can put it on a bag, a tote bag. You can make a pillow out of it. I'm just going to zoom out here a little bit. Any number of things. What I'm going to do is make mine into a, see if I can, okay, I'm going to fold this part up. I zoom out here a little bit more. There we go. There we go. I'm going to take this bottom part, fold it up, and then I'm going to use this top part. Well, now I had it folded correctly. Well, it helps if you fold it this way. Okay. I'm going to put 2 rows on the front, 2 rows on the back, and then I'm going to use this top row as the flap and make a small clutch out of it. And this will be lined with a fabric that will bring out the cut areas. Okay. Now, whether I fold it this way or whether I fold it, pardon me, whether I fold it this way and use these as the flap, all remains to be seen. I haven't decided yet how I want to put it together. I kind of hate to hide all this lovely work, but yet I hate to hide any of it. But I thought, oh, to make it into a bit of an envelope type thing would be just a lovely way to finish this off. So that is what I'm going to do. Now, I will just have to play around a little bit with how to do that, because a seamstress I'm not. But I'm feeling like put a lining in, and then we'll figure it out. Whether to attach the lining or not attach the lining, we'll figure it out. But that is the plan for mine. And I hope you guys all come up with a plan for yours of something that you're going to enjoy. I will video that construction of putting it together. So, my friends, with that, I think I am going to leave you for today. I didn't do any stitching, but that's okay. But hopefully you got some extra tips on how to cut. So, because I would, my heart would break if you do the cutting and something terrible would happen. But then again, remember, it's possible to repair it. So hang in there. And with that, I will see you all next week. And as I close every video, and I know this is Hardanger, and there are some rules, but in cross stitch, there are no rules, just the ones you set for yourself. Have a great day, and I will see you next.